Hi there, my beautiful beings. How are you today? So in this beautiful video, something has been coming through quite strongly today. My beautiful spirit guides are bringing through this message for all of us, bringing through this gorgeous awareness. A few years ago, I think it was about 2 years ago now, I'm trying to think, maybe more. It was after I did the angel adventure with A.W.A.K.E.N. Someone had posted up on Facebook this video from the angel adventure. And at the time, I remember watching this video and feeling quite sick in my stomach, quite nauseous. And I couldn't shake that feeling as I was watching it, thinking, why would they post this up on this gorgeous angel page, you know? And the video was somewhere, it looked like it had been a war zone at some stage. And there was this 60-year-old woman, give or take, in her 60s. And there was this little kitten that was crying. I felt it was just hungry, you know, it just wanted something to eat. And it just triggered something in this person. And she had, the footage was of her with something in her hand that looked like a stick, but made of metal. It wasn't, you know, just a branch from a tree. It looked like something quite hefty. And she was beating the crap out of this cat, out of this poor kitten that kept wailing. It was, firstly, I don't know if it had been separated from its mum, so maybe it was crying for mum. But for me, every time I heard it crying, it felt like it was hungry. It just wanted food, you know. But there were so many things that came up for me at that time. Firstly, like I said, I felt so sick in my stomach that I had to delete that. And then I just unfollowed that person from then on. I just couldn't trust what they were going to bring through, you know, because it was meant to be an angel page where we were lifting each other up with our beautiful angel experiences that we were having, you know, we were sharing all these beautiful things. So why that was posted up there was just beyond me, you know. But all of these things were coming up as I was watching it. Firstly, the person that was recording it took the time to pull out their phone from their pocket, from their bag, from wherever it was, to press the record button. Rather than step in and do something, they recorded the video to post up to get all these millions of views of, oh, how horrible what this person did to this poor defenseless animal, because it was a kitten. You could hear it in its cries. You know, not even a full-grown cat. It was just a kitten. You could hear, you know, how little it was. And you could see it in the video because they expanded to show this little animal crying as this person was beating it to death, because she didn't stop until it stopped crying and moving. It wasn't even after the crying, she was still, you know, hitting it with this this stick that she had in her hand. So firstly, my reaction was, hang on a minute. You stopped to record it, but you can't step in to stop what's happening. You know, if this is so wrong and you're posting it up on Facebook or wherever it was, on YouTube, because this is so wrong, in your opinion, because that's the captions that was under it, you know, this brutality. Why didn't you step in to stop? It's a 60-year-old person. It's not like it's a young person that can really fight you off, you know. This woman was well into her 60s, if not 70s, you know. That was the first thing that came up for me. Why would you stop to record it and not stop to intervene, you know, to defend something that can't defend itself, you know? That was the first thing. Then as I'm watching this video, and mind you, I only watched it once, but for some reason it got imprinted in my brain that day. And it stayed with me until today. It came back. For some reason, sometimes it comes and replays again. And I feel it's because there is information there that I haven't quite understood the message of why that had been posted, of why I had to see it. There's a reason. Nothing happens by accident. That was on my feed for a reason by this lady. And before that, I had loved all of her posts. You know, they were so beautiful. They were so loving until that post. And after I saw it, it was one of those things, you know, when you see it and you can't unsee it. It just stays with you. And this morning I was remembering that, and all this information was flooding through that I wasn't aware of, you know, those years ago when I watched it the first time. The Angel Adventure, I think we did in 2020. Yes, the end of 2020. So I'm talking 5 years ago now. And it was shortly after. So in 2021, she would have posted that and I would have seen it, and that was it. Delete, unnotify. I don't want to hear anything else from this person ever again. You know, that was like, I felt so sick that morning. And my husband's the same. If he sees anything where an animal's being mistreated, we can't watch it. You know, if it's a dog or cat, especially because we have dogs, you know, and we're just so connected. We're so close to the animals in our house. But for me, it can be anything. It can be a bird. It can be like anything. And I just, you know, up until now, I just come undone. You know, it's like this animal can't defend itself against us, you know. So anyway, getting back to that story. As I was remembering in the video, in the background, so you had the woman with the stick, you had the little kitten, but beyond that, in the video, I could see at least 4 people that had stopped to watch. They were just standing there watching. Not one person. And I'm sure outside of the camera where we couldn't see, there were more people. They all stopped to watch, but not one stepped in to stop it. They all just stopped to observe what this person was doing. I found that incredible, you know. So that was at the time, that was my reaction of, oh, I can't deal with this, you know. And today, what was coming through is that our outer world is a reflection of our inner world. And what I kept seeing as that video was replaying in my head this morning, and I was seeing that vision again of this woman and this kitten, I kept hearing the words that this kitten was serving her experience, as well as all the people that were, you know, observing, watching, all the people that got affected by this video that went out into the world, of how it made us all feel, you know, that this poor little animal couldn't defend itself, couldn't do anything, and all it wanted was food. You know, it was just wailing for food. That's all it wanted. It was so hungry. You could see it. And, but today I got to see it in a different way. And this is the beauty of awakening, you know, when you get to see it in so many different perspectives, from the eyes of the soul, from the eyes of unconditional love, rather than from just the human experience, from the ego, from the separate I that just wants to judge, that it's barbaric, that it's wrong, that it's bad, that it's whatever other words come up for the ego, you know, that, oh, people shouldn't do that, you know. But this morning, when for whatever reason this video came back into my head and I was reliving the images, I kept hearing that kitten was serving that person's experience. And all I could see this time when I was reliving it, rewatching it in my head, was that person, the one with the stick, was that kitten. And she saw something in that kitten that reflected something she had been through. And that's why she was so angry. And she just wanted it to stop. She wouldn't stop hitting it until it stopped moving. And in that moment, I just saw her as a child, a little one, crouching, you know, cowering, being beaten up until she would stop moving, until she stopped speaking, making noise. I know because my parents went through that. My dad went through that. Whenever they did something wrong, they made a mistake, my dad would be beaten. I grew up with the stories. He couldn't walk for 2 or 3 days. They were bedridden. And the mentality was from the grown-ups that if they went through that as children, they would remember next time not to do that. If the punishment were severe enough, they would remember next time not to do that, not to question authority. We do not speak up. to the grown-ups. I even grew up like that. I never spoke back to my mum. I was terrified. I wouldn't even dare, you know? I wouldn't even dare. Because I knew what was waiting for me on the other side of that if I dared. And yes, we grew up that children were to be seen but not heard. We were never asked what we wanted. We had conversations with my parents, but it was mostly them sharing their knowledge of the world, that it's a dangerous place, it's not safe out there, it's hostile, it's, it was them sharing their beliefs, their views, their passing down their wisdom, their knowledge, what they've experienced so far of this world. But very rarely did I get to speak of what was going on inside of me, what I was observing, what I was witnessing, what I was experiencing. We were to be seen but not heard. When we got together on weekends with all the cousins, we had a separate table for the children. The grown-ups had their table where they would sit and eat. And the children would, at a distance have their table and they would be sitting over there eating separately from the grown-ups so that we couldn't hear their conversations and they didn't have to hear us at all. And as soon as we finished eating, we were sent outside to play. Straight away. You finished eating, off you go. We don't want to see you. We don't want to hear you. We're just grown-ups are having a conversation. Go. And when I went to South America for the first time, I was 12 years old. And I met my aunt, my mum's sister, for the first time. And we all used to sit at the same table. Not only that, but we were like mixed in. There'd be my aunt on one side, my uncle would be on the other, my cousin, my dad. We were all mixed in at the table, all talking together at the same time, all interacting. And for me, that was like my mind was blown. What? There are beings that actually want to interact with us, that actually want to hear our stories, they want to know about us. My aunt was fascinated with us, with our stories, with who we were. And up until that time, I just didn't know what that was, I think it might have had to do as well with, when I was talking to Jesus at the age of 5 and my parents were like, you can't do that. You can't go out in the world and talk about that. I was shut down. And so I think from there, it was just like they were too scared to ask me what was going on with me, They were too scared of what was going to come out of my mouth. So, that could have been it. But today, I just couldn't help the information that was coming through. I couldn't help but seeing that being as a child going through that. And in that moment that she heard that kitten crying, it reminded her of that time where maybe she was afraid or suffering or crying about something. Maybe she was hungry, because my parents went hungry many, many times as little ones. They just didn't have enough food. They grew up in that environment. They were so, so poor. And perhaps the same. She was hungry and she was crying and her stomach was rumbling as a little one. And all she got was punished because the parents were doing the best that they could do, but they didn't have the food to give her. So all I could see today when I was reliving that video was that person was seeing herself in that kitten. And that's how it made her feel. That's how she expressed herself. That's what was inside of her, that pain. That's all I could see today. I couldn't see the kitten at all. I kept hearing from my beautiful spirit team is that what I missed was that kitten was serving her human experience. It was creating that opportunity for her to express the pain that was inside of her. Everything that we express out into the world, into this physical world, is what is going on inside in our inner world. Today I got a glimpse that perhaps for many of the beings that come, that their life is so joyful and so at peace and so wonderful all the way through, that these souls may be new souls. They've just arrived. This is their first experience on this planet. And so they're not really here to detach from, fully detach from who they truly are, the love that they are, the joy that they are, the peace that they are. They're here to be in the world, but it's still so beautiful. You know, they're still so in touch with the beauty that is inside of them. But the ones that are here, that go through what that woman went through, that go through what my parents have gone through, they've been here, we've been here many, many, many times. And we've done the joyful, and we've done the peaceful, and we've done the loving. This is who we are. We already know that. We got it. We know that. I didn't have this information 5 years ago. I wasn't there yet. So today, to be able to see through the eyes of love, through the eyes of the soul, of spirit, the truth of this poor woman and what she must have gone through in her childhood. All I could feel was compassion for her, love for her journey, for how painful it's been, for how much suffering she's gone through. That she chose this lifetime was all about the pain and the suffering and the darkness for her soul to experience, and for the rest of us, because each one of us that's watched that video were touched with that information. Somehow it affected us in some way. And today I couldn't help but think, and I'll share this in the next video because it is for another video. I won't drag it out too long. But sit with this today. When you see someone abusing another that is defenseless, that can't help themselves, feel within yourself, how does that make you feel? Because I know for me, I can't help but see myself as a child when I was smacked and I was yelled at and I couldn't do anything about it. I was helpless. I was defenseless. I was too little against this big person to make it stop. I was too little. I couldn't do anything about it. I was at the mercy of her moods is the word I'm after, you know? And I understand everything that my mum has been through. It's been a hard life for her, you know? And I understand what I've been through. But every time I see something that can't defend itself, that is being hurt or abused, or in some way, I can't help but feel that that's me when I was little. I see myself there. And it's because we are all of it. We are spirit. We are the abuser and we are the one being abused. We have been all of them. We'll talk more about this in the next video. All right, my beautiful beings. We love you dearly. Remember to click like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the messages. And next time, really sit with yourself and question, why is this affecting me so? Why am I so affected by this, by watching this? Or why is it that I can't watch this at all? And we'll talk more on this because there is a lot coming through about this at the moment. There is a lot. When we judge it, it's because there is something there for us. All right, my beautiful beings. We love you. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.